You have powerful, royal ties to the ancient world. And people can feel it in their bones. They sense your bloodline. Your ancient power is impossible to hide. I know that sounds wild. I know that sounds like something you'd scroll past, but stay with me for a second. Because if you felt something shift in your chest, when you listen to this, if something in you went, yeah, before your brain even had time to argue, that's not a coincidence. That's recognition. That's the part of you that already know what I'm about to tell you. And that part has been waiting a long time for someone to say it out loud. There is something different about you. Not different like quirky, or not different like you eat strange food or you dress unusually. Different in a way that goes much deeper than any of that. Different in a way that other people pick up on you before you even open your mouth. Strangers hold eye contact with you a bit too long. People you just met start telling you things they've never told anyone. Conversations shift when you walk into a room. The energy changes. The temperature changes. Something in the air gets a little more changed. And you have noticed this. You've noticed it your whole life, and you have never had a word for it. Maybe you've called it awkward. Maybe you've called it overthinking. Maybe you've just decided that people are weird. But here is what's actually happening. They are responding to something ancient in you that your modern life has never given you the language to describe. Because there is a lineage in you. And I mean that literally, not metaphorically, not as some kind of feel-good idea. Your existence, let me explain. Your existence isn't a coincidence. It's a continuation of a royal legacy. The people who came before you, generations back, far further back than you can ever trace. Some of them held real power. Not power like a corner office. Power like the kind that builds civilizations. Power like the kind that protects entire communities. Power like the kind that reads the room before there even is a room. That royal doesn't disappear just because centuries passed. It doesn't evaporate. It moves through bloodlines like something cellular, like something written into the actual architecture of who you are. The DNA in your veins carries the memories of empires and the wisdom of the ages. And whether or not you have ever thought about it this way, your body has been carrying in this whole life. You know, it's like you've lived your whole life in a modest little house, totally unaware that underneath the floorboards lies a crown of solid gold. You felt its weight beneath your feet for years, but you thought it was just a creak in the wood, just the house settling, just like being life. And now the floor is breaking open, and the shine is becoming impossible to ignore. You can't unsee it. You can't pretend that gleam isn't there anymore. That's where you are right now. standing in your own living room, looking down at the cracks and realizing that what you thought was broken was actually just revealing what was always yours. And lately, and I think you know this, lately it's been surfacing. Something has been shifting in you, not gradually, not like a slow sunrise, more like something that was underground finally pushing through. You might have felt it as a restlessness, or like you stopped being able to fake enthusiasm for things that used to be enough. Or like you looked at your old life, your old patterns, your old habits, your old way of moving through the world, and it just didn't fit anymore. Like trying to wear clothes from when you were 14. Everything pulls in the wrong direction. Everything feels too small. That's not you falling apart. That's you outgrowing the container that was never meant to hold you permanently. And here is where it gets really interesting. Because the people around you, they are noticing it before you fully can. Think about the last few weeks. Think about how people have been looking at you differently. People who used to have this kind of easy, casual access to you. People who used to be able to push your buttons and get a reaction. People who used to kind of manage you or handle you. They can't reach you the same way anymore. And it's freaking them out. Because you are not being cold, you are not being distant, you haven't become some closed off version of yourself. No, you have become more yourself, fuller, more settled. And that energy is impossible to manipulate because it's impossible to destabilize something that's rooted in something this old, this deep, this real. People are intimidated by your presence because they sense an authority they can't explain. It's not that you are trying to intimidate anyone. You are literally just standing there, being who you are, and something in them goes, oh, this person is not like the others. I want you to think about a very specific moment. You are in a conversation. Could be at work, could be at some kind of gathering, could be just two people in a coffee shop. And someone says something that you know is wrong. Not morally, not ethically, just factually or energetically. Something just lands wrong. And the old version of you would have let it go, would have smiled, would have nodded, would have gone home and replayed it at 2 a.m. But lately there is something in you that just doesn't move. Like you have this stillness in your center that wasn't there before. And you speak calmly, not aggressively, no. Not from a place of needing to win, no. And what you say lands. It lands with a weight that surprises even you sometimes. That's not coincidence you learned from a podcast. That's something inherited. That's blood memory. That's the part of you that has sat at tables with the real stakes before, that has spoken with authority before, that knows what it means to hold a room not by demanding it, but by simply being undeniably present in it. You have always felt like a black sheep, haven't you? Like you never quite fit the mold. Like every room you walked into, there was this invisible wall between you and everyone else. And maybe you spent years trying to figure out what was wrong with you. Maybe you tried to shrink, maybe you tried to be more like them. But here is the truth. The truth you are finally ready to hear. You are not the black sheep. You are the lion of your bloodline. And lions don't fit in with sheep. They were never supposed to, actually. Stop trying to fit in when you were literally born to lead. The discomfort you felt your entire life wasn't a sign that something was wrong with you. It was a sign that you were in the wrong room, surrounded by people, by wrong people, trying to make yourself digestible for folks who were never supposed to be your audience anyway. Some of you listening to this have been through something that from the outside looked like falling apart. A period of isolation, a season where the people you thought were your people showed you who they actually were. A stretch of time where you were so profoundly misunderstood that you started to wonder if something was wrong with you. Maybe it was months, maybe it was years. For some it was decades. Maybe it was a kind of loneliness that had nothing to do with being alone. You could be surrounded by 100 people and still feel it. That particular ache of being in a room full of people who cannot see you. And you survived that. You didn't just survive it, actually. You were processed by it. Something in you went through that fire and came out different. Hardened in some places, softened in others, wiser in a way that you can't fully explain because it's not something you read. It's something you lived. That wasn't an accident. That wasn't bad luck. That was initiation. Every lineage of real power has one. A passage, a threshold, a period where everything that isn't real gets stripped away so that what's actually true about you has room to breathe. The people who carry ancient bloodlines don't get to skip that part. Because real authority isn't handed to you. It's earned. It's earned in ways that are invisible to everyone watching from the outside. You look at what you went through and you think, I barely made it. And spirit, the universe, whatever word works for you, looks at what you went through and says, you made it exactly the way someone like you makes it. You were protected during that time. Sure. Even when it didn't feel like it. Even when you were completely certain you were not. And now you are on the other side of it. And something in your energy has become magnetic in a way that is genuinely hard to describe. Have you noticed that people are starting to show up around you who are different, more real, more aligned with something in you that you maybe haven't even fully named it yet? And at the same time, people who were always a little threatened by you, or people who needed you to be smaller so they could feel comfortable. Those people are either showing their true colors or slowly fading out. This is not drama. This is not you attracting chaos. This is your frequency becoming so clear, so specific, so you, that is acting like a filter. Like a filter. The people who belonging in your chapter get pulled toward you. The ones who don't can't hold on because you stopped making it easy for them too. Not on purpose, not even consciously, just because you finally stopped shrinking to make them comfortable. There is a frequency you carry that acts as the key to doors others can't even see. I mean that literally. You walk into a space and without saying a single word, without doing anything performative, you unlock something. People feel it. Of course they do. Feel it. They might not be able to name it. They might just say you have good energy or a vibe, but it's so much more than that. Even when you walk into a room silently, your spirit is speaking at maximum volume, and the right people hear it. Right people always hear it. And the people who are meant to find you, the opportunities that are meant to land you in your lap, the synchronicities that feel so perfect to be random, they are all responding to that frequency. You carry a royal code that commands respect without you saying a single word. You don't have to demand anything. You don't have to prove anything. You just have to be present fully in your own skin, and the world rearranges itself around that. Attracts people, attracts opportunities. And your intuition right now. Okay, I need you to pay attention to this part specifically. Your intuition is becoming almost uncomfortably accurate. You might be getting these moments of just knowing things before you have any logical reason to know them. Walking into a situation and immediately clocking the energy, immediately understanding the subtext, immediately feeling what's true versus what's being performed. Maybe you are having dreams, of course, dreams that feel more like downloads than dreams. Maybe you are noticing symbols repeating. Maybe you are hearing symbols especially. Maybe you are hearing something in a song and you have to stop because it feels like it was written specifically for you in this moment. Pay attention. Maybe you are just having these thoughts that feel like they are coming from somewhere slightly outside you, slightly bigger than your normal mental chatter. And you write them down because they feel important. They are important. Those are not just random. That's the part of you that has always known more than you've been given credit for, coming fully online. Your intuition isn't just a gut feeling. It's the collective voice of your royal lineage guiding you. It's your ancestors whispering directions into your ear, and you're finally quiet enough to hear them. You are the chosen one of your ancestors, sent here to break the cycles of the past. I know that sounds like movie dialogue, But sit with it for a second. Think about it. All the patterns in your family line. The things that kept repeating generations after generation. The wounds that the limitations, the ways people kept playing small or playing out of the same story over and over. You were sent here to be the one who finally says enough. You are the circuit breaker, the one who inherited all that ancestral momentum and said, it stops with me. And that's not a burden, it's a mission. You are in a bridge between the ancient world and the new reality we are building. That's why you've always felt like you didn't quite belong in either world. Because you don't. You belong in the space between. You belong at the threshold, holding the door open for everyone who comes after you. And here is what I want you to understand about the people around you sensing your bloodline. It's not that they see a crown. It's not that they consciously think, oh, this person carries ancient power. Most people don't have that kind of self-awareness. What they feel is the thing underneath, the steadiness, the way you hold yourself, the way you don't flinch when people expect you to flinch, the way your eyes, your beautiful eyes, do not dart around the room looking for approval, the way you can disagree without apologizing for disagreeing, the way you take up exactly the space you take up, not more, not less, with this calm certainty that feels so rare in a world full of people performing versions of themselves. That's what they sense. They sense your bloodline because it resonates with the ancient truth they've forgotten. Somewhere deep down, buried under all the modern conditioning, there is a part of them that recognizes what you are carrying. And that recognition either draws them toward you like a magnet, or it sends them running in the opposite direction because it triggers something they are not ready to face in themselves. The world tries to make you feel small, but your soul remembers being infinite. It remembers thrones. It remembers councils. It remembers standing in rooms where your world was law, not because you forced it, but because your presence was so undeniably true that no one thought to question it. You carry that same energy now, in this lifetime, in this body. And you might be sitting there in your car or on your couch or in your kitchen listening to this, thinking about all the ways your life looks ordinary. But that's just the floorboards. That's just the modest house. The crown is under there. The crown has always been under there. And it's gleaming through the cracks now, whether you are ready for it or not. You are not becoming someone new. This is the part I really need you to understand, to sit with. You are not reinventing yourself. You are not building a persona or finally figuring out who you want to be. You are remembering. There is a version of you, a real, complete, unhidden, unhidden version that was here before the world started teaching you to make yourself easier to digest. Before you learned that wanting too much was dangerous. Before you learned that being too direct lost you people. Before you learned to translate yourself into language small enough for rooms that were never big enough for you anyway. That version of you is not a future goal. It's not something you are working toward. It is what's emerging right now. Through every moment of stillness, you allow yourself, through every boundary you hold without over-explaining it, through every time you choose your own knowing over someone else's comfort. This isn't about ego. This isn't about walking around thinking you are better than anyone. This is about acknowledging the divine architecture of your soul, your beautiful soul. This is about finally giving yourself permission to be exactly as powerful, as perceptive, as magnetic, as demanding as you actually are, without apology, without shrinking, without making yourself smaller so other people can feel comfortable. The world doesn't need another person who made themselves comfortable to be around. The world needs exactly what you actually are. What you actually are. We need that. And you are so close to letting it to be seen. I can feel it. You can feel it, most importantly. The people around you can feel it in their bones. Your bloodline is real. Your power is ancient. And it has always been impossible to hide. Even when you were trying your hardest to make it small. So stop trying. Own your power. Because the ancestors are watching and they are rooting for you. Not judging, not waiting for you to mess up. Rooting for you. Cheering you on from the other side. Sending you signs, sending you signals, people. Sending you moments of clarity that break through the noise. You are the one they have been waiting for. You are the one who carries their legacy forward. And there is not a single thing you need to add to yourself to be ready. You already are. You always have been. Now go ahead and let them see it.